Chapter 1. The Endless Chase. I've spent 8 years chasing a man who never once truly saw me. 8 years staring at his smile, memorizing the way he laughed, waiting for a single moment when he would look at me and see me the way I saw him. His name is Daniel, and I loved him with every piece of me, even when he barely noticed I existed. "Hey!" I muttered to myself as I watched him across the cafe, talking to someone else. My chest tightened, the familiar ache settling in like a stone. Just say something. Say anything. I never did. I never could. 8 years of hesitation, of waiting, of hoping, and here I was, still a ghost in his world. That's when I saw Alex. He leaned against the doorway, casually scanning the room until his eyes landed on me. Unlike Daniel, he didn't look past me. He smiled, a warm, open smile that made something inside me twitch, a sensation I hadn't felt in years. "Hi," he said, walking toward me. "I'm Alex. Mind if I sit?" I blinked, stunned. Sure." His presence was like a candle in a dark room. He didn't know the years I had wasted pining for someone who didn't care. He didn't know how suspiciously I always analyzed men's glances, how I cataloged every word Daniel ever said. But for some reason, I felt safe around him. Seen. Recognized. "You look tense," Alex said, tilting his head. "Rough day." I laughed nervously. "You could say that." I didn't want to tell him I spent the last 8 years obsessing over someone who didn't love me back. I didn't want him to see how broken I felt. We talked for hours. He listened without judgment, laughed at my jokes, and even teased me gently. I almost forgot Daniel existed. Almost. Then, just as the sunlight faded, Daniel walked in. My stomach plummeted. He hadn't noticed me, of course not, but Alex's eyes flicked toward him. A shadow crossed his face, and for the first time, I felt someone else's protective gaze on me. "Everything okay?" he asked quietly. I forced a smile. "Yeah, fine." Inside, though, I was a storm of confusion. Daniel still had that effect on me, even after years of heartbreak. Even now, I wanted to tell him everything I had felt, everything I had endured, but I didn't. Instead, I sat with Alex, and for the first time in years, I felt something I thought I'd lost forever: hope. The days after that meeting were strange. I couldn't stop thinking about Alex. Not in the obsessive way I thought I was capable of, but in a warm, thrilling, terrifyingly new way. My friends noticed. "You're glowing," Lena said one night when we grabbed coffee. "I swear, it's been ages since I've seen you smile like that." I shrugged, trying to hide how much I cared. "It's nothing." "You're lying," she said, smirking. "And I like it." Part of me felt guilty. I still thought about Daniel. I still wondered if I had made a mistake letting go. But every time I saw Alex, every time he smiled or touched my hand, I remembered something I had almost forgotten. Love should not feel like chasing shadows. It should feel like being seen. One evening, I found myself standing outside my apartment, phone in hand, staring at Alex's name. I almost didn't dare call. Almost. My thumb hovered, shaking, because I was terrified of hope, terrified of disappointment. But I pressed dial anyway. "Hi," his voice said, warm, calm. "I was hoping you'd call. I stumbled over my words, heart hammering. "I wanted to see you again. I like being around you." "You mean more than like," he teased gently. "And I like being around you too. More than I can say." I laughed nervously, my chest tightening with a mix of fear and exhilaration. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered, almost to myself. Alex's voice softened. "Then we'll take it slow. We'll figure it out. Together." And for the first time in 8 years, I believed it. That maybe, just maybe, I could finally stop chasing someone who didn't want me and start living with someone who did. But somewhere deep in the back of my mind, I couldn't shake the warning. Things that seem perfect often aren't. Chapter 2. The First Choice. Before continuing to the next chapter, please subscribe, like, and comment below. Which part shocked you the most? Let me know. I couldn't stop thinking about Alex. Even when I tried to focus on work or call Lena, My mind drifted back to him. The way he smiled, the way he listened, the way I felt seen in a way Daniel had never even tried. But then there was Daniel. That persistent, ghostly presence in my heart. He had sent me a text a few days ago. "Can we talk? I've been thinking." My stomach sank when I read it. For a moment, old hope sparked. Maybe he'd finally realized I was the one. I shook my head. No. I had spent 8 years waiting for someone who would never care for me the way I cared for him. Couldn't go back. Not now. "Hey," Alex said, sliding into the chair across from me at the cafe. His eyes were warm, but I could tell something was bothering him. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile. "Everything okay?" He hesitated. "Yeah, well, mostly. I've been wanting to ask you something." "Ask me." I leaned forward, curious and nervous. He took a deep breath. "I know we haven't known each other long, but I can't stop thinking about you. I like you a lot, and I don't want to rush anything, but would you consider going out with me? Properly? Not just coffee, not just casual." My heart hammered. I had been dreaming of hearing words like that for years, just never from Daniel. "Alex, I stopped. My voice caught. "I'd like that. I really would." He smiled, and I swear the air around me felt lighter. "Good, because I've been hoping you'd say yes." But just as the warmth spread through me, my phone buzzed. "Daniel." My chest tightened. I looked at the message. "I miss you. Can we meet tonight?" I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling. I didn't reply. Couldn't. Not while sitting here with Alex, who actually wanted me. "Everything okay?" Alex asked, leaning closer. I shook my head, trying to hide the panic. "Yeah, it's nothing." He gave me that look again, the one that seemed to see right through me. "You know, you can tell me anything." I wanted to scream everything. The years of chasing Daniel, the nights I cried alone, the emptiness I felt. But I didn't. I shook my head, forcing a laugh. "No, really. I'm fine." That night, I went home and stared at the ceiling. Alex's words replayed in my mind. "I like you. I can't stop thinking about you." Simple, honest, real. Not like Daniel, who had never once said what he truly felt. I knew what I had to do. I had to choose me. I had to choose someone who wanted me, not someone I was endlessly chasing. The next day, I called Alex. "I want to see you," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I was hoping you'd say that," he replied, smiling through the phone. "When can we meet?" We met in the park that evening. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I watched him approach and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. "I'm nervous," I admitted when he reached me. "Don't be," he said softly, taking my hand. "I won't hurt you. I promise." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust him. And in that moment, I did. But then my phone buzzed again. "Daniel." A text. "I can't stop thinking about you. Meet me tomorrow." I stared at the screen, hand trembling. I could feel Alex's warmth next to me, and I knew I had to make my choice. I put the phone down. I'm with you now," I whispered. Alex's hand squeezed mine. "Good. That's all I need to hear." I smiled, though my heart still ached a little. Choosing Alex didn't mean I had forgotten Daniel. It just meant I had finally decided to stop chasing a ghost and start living in the present. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a strange mix of relief and fear. Relief because I was finally taking control of my life. Fear because giving someone my heart again, after so much hurt, was terrifying. But I couldn't go back. I wouldn't. I had made my choice. And somehow, for the first time in years, I felt alive. Chapter 3. A perfect illusion. Life with Alex felt like a dream I had finally stopped denying. Every morning, he was there, making coffee just the way I liked it, smiling at me like I was the only person in the world. He listened, truly listened, when I spoke, laughed at my silly jokes, and held me when I cried. For the first time in 8 years, I felt safe. "Good morning," Alex said one Saturday, leaning in to brush my hair back. "Sleep well." I nodded, smiling. "Better than I have in a long time." "You're amazing, you know that?" He chuckled. Only because you're worth it. I felt my chest tighten, a mixture of happiness and disbelief. Could someone really care for me this much? Was it possible to finally stop feeling like a ghost in someone else's life? For weeks, everything seemed perfect. We went on weekend trips, met each other's friends, cooked together, and stayed up late talking about everything. Our dreams, our fears, the silly things we'd never admit to anyone else. I could almost forget the years I'd wasted chasing Daniel. Almost. Then came the small things. A call from Alex that he had to take care of work. But his voice sounded tense, almost guilty. A text he didn't answer until hours later. A fleeting glance when he thought I wasn't looking. I noticed, of course. I always noticed. But I told myself it was nothing. He worked hard. Maybe he was stressed. I had to trust him, didn't I? "You've been quiet today," Alex said one evening, handing me a mug of tea. "What's on your mind?" I hesitated. "Just thinking." "About what?" "Nothing. Really." He studied me for a moment, his eyebrows knitting together. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" "I know," I said, forcing a laugh. Sometimes I overthink." He nodded, but I caught the flicker of something. An unease I couldn't name. Later that week, I overheard him talking on the phone. His tone was low, hurried. "Yeah, I know. I'll handle it. Don't worry about her." My heart stuttered. Handle it? Who was he talking about? I wanted to confront him immediately, but a part of me hesitated. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust the life we were building. But another part of me, the part that had spent 8 years crushed by unreciprocated love, warned me to watch carefully. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every word I'd heard. My mind wouldn't stop. Is this paranoia? Or is something really wrong? I pushed the thought away and tried to focus on the morning. Alex made breakfast for us, pancakes and coffee, and smiled at me across the table. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I lied, smiling back. "I'm fine." He leaned across the table, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "I love you," he said simply, and I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him, but a tiny, nagging voice inside me whispered, "Everything that seems perfect isn't." The following days brought more subtle signs. Alex disappearing for hours, sudden texts that he didn't want me to see, a call I accidentally overheard in which he sounded strangely secretive. Every time, he reassured me when I questioned him. Every time, I swallowed the doubt because I wanted him to be real, because I wanted to feel love without fear for once. "I know I've been distracted," he admitted one night, sitting beside me on the couch. "I swear, nothing's wrong with us. Work has been crazy." I nodded, holding his hand. "I trust you," I said, though my voice wavered slightly. He smiled, and I felt a rush of relief. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe my heart just wanted to play tricks on me. And maybe, I thought, just maybe, I could finally stop worrying about ghosts from the past. But deep down, a quiet, insistent unease lingered. Something was off. Something I couldn't yet name. And I had a feeling I was about to learn just how wrong I could be. Chapter 4: Cracks in the Glass. The unease had been growing for weeks, like a shadow hovering just beyond my vision. I tried to ignore it, telling myself Alex loved me, that he would never hurt me. But the little things kept piling up. Late nights, secretive calls, unexplained excuses, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. One evening, as we sat in the living room, Alex's phone buzzed. He glanced at it quickly and tucked it away before I could see. "Everything okay?" I asked casually, trying to keep my voice steady. He smiled a little too quickly. "Yeah, just work stuff." I nodded, but I could feel the knot in my stomach tighten. Work stuff, or something else? Later that week, I decided I couldn't ignore it any longer. I confronted him gently, hoping I wasn't imagining things. "Alex dash," I started, sitting on the edge of the couch. "I feel like you're hiding something from me. Is that true?" He hesitated, eyes flicking away. "Hiding something? No, I mean nothing important. Just adult stuff." "Adult stuff that you don't want me to know?" I pressed, my voice trembling slightly. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. Look, I promise it's nothing that matters. I don't want to stress you out. I'm not a child, Alex. I can handle it. I just want honesty. That's all. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay, I'll try. Work has been overwhelming, and I didn't want to worry you unnecessarily. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to let it go. But the seed of doubt had taken root, and I couldn't unhear the hurried tone of that phone call or the way he avoided my eyes. And then Daniel came back. I ran into him at the grocery store of all places. He was standing there with a basket of groceries, casually smiling like we had never been apart. Hey, he said, voice soft but deliberate. It's been a while. I froze, heart hammering. Daniel I whispered, unsure if I wanted to run or stay. I've been thinking a lot, he said, stepping closer. About us. About everything we left unfinished. I felt a rush of old feelings. Hope, frustration, longing. But I pushed them away. Daniel, I'm with someone now. Alex. His expression flickered, just for a moment, before returning to that calm, practiced smile. I see. That's good for you. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile, though my chest felt tight. He lingered a moment longer, then nodded. Take care of yourself. And just like that, he walked away. I exhaled shakily, tears pricking my eyes. Daniel was gone for now, but his presence reminded me of the years I had wasted, the heartbreak I had endured, and the pain I had tried to bury. That night, I confronted Alex again, unable to bear the weight of suspicion any longer. Alex, can we talk? I said, my voice low. He looked up from his laptop, concerned. Of course. What's wrong? I saw Daniel today, I admitted. He tried to talk to me. Alex's expression tightened, a flash of something I couldn't place crossing his face. And I don't know, I said, frustration and fear bubbling inside me. I feel like there are things you're hiding. I can't explain it, but I feel it. He stood, taking a deep breath. I promise, I'm not hiding anything from you. I need you to trust me. That's all I'm asking. I wanted to trust him. I wanted so badly to believe that he loved me and that this was just paranoia. But the unease had taken root too deeply. I couldn't ignore it anymore. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, heart racing. I loved Alex. I wanted to love him. But trust, once broken or even questioned, isn't easy to repair. And now, with Daniel's ghost lingering, I realized that life was about to test me in ways I hadn't expected. Something was off. I could feel it, and I knew, deep down, that ignoring it wouldn't make it disappear. Chapter 5, The Betrayal Unveiled. I should have known. The feeling in my chest, the constant unease, the little lies I tried to dismiss, wasn't paranoia. It was truth. I stumbled across it by accident. I was looking for my notebook in Alex's study when I saw his laptop open. A message on the screen froze me. She won't suspect a thing. Everything is set. Meet tonight. My stomach dropped. My hands shook. I wanted to scream, to run, to hit something, but I couldn't move. The words burned themselves into my brain. Alex my voice was barely audible. He spun around, eyes wide, trying to mask whatever he was thinking. What is it? I swallowed hard. The messages. I saw them. Who are you talking to? He hesitated. Then, finally, the mask slipped. It's complicated, he said, avoiding my gaze. Complicated? Complicated is hiding this from me. I shouted, my voice cracking. After everything, how could you? How could you lie to me? He started, but I cut him off. Just don't. I trusted you. My hands shook, tears streaming down my face. I gave you everything I had. My heart, my life. And you've been deceiving me this whole time. He finally looked at me, his expression calm but cold. I didn't mean to hurt you. I needed to do what I had to do. What you had to do. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. You mean cheat on me? Lie to me. Make me believe I was the one you loved. He ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my eyes. It's not like that. Not like that. I screamed, voice raw. You've been talking to her behind my back, planning things you never planned to tell me. You're a liar, Alex. A liar and a coward. He flinched at the words, but didn't deny them. I loved you, I whispered, my throat tight. I thought maybe finally I could have someone who cared. Someone who wouldn't break me like Daniel did. And you destroyed that. Alex's lips trembled, and for a moment I thought he might apologize, might beg for forgiveness. But instead, he looked away like he was ashamed, or maybe like he didn't care enough to be. I'm sorry, he said finally. I didn't think it would matter. I didn't think you'd find out. Not think it would matter? My voice cracked as I stepped closer. Do you have any idea what you've done to me? The trust you shattered? The love you killed? He opened his mouth, but no words came. I didn't wait for him. I turned and ran from the study, my tears burning my cheeks. Couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it had been ripped open. That night, I sat alone in the dark, shaking, replaying every moment with him in my mind. Every touch, every word, every promise. I questioned them all. Was any of it real? Had I ever truly mattered to him? I thought of Daniel, and for a brief, fleeting moment, I wondered if things would have been different. But no, Daniel never wanted me, not truly. Alex had, for a time, but only as a convenient possession, not as a partner, not as someone who respected me. The betrayal cut deeper than I thought possible. I felt foolish, weak, humiliated. 8 years of heartbreak, only to be deceived again. I had trusted. I had opened myself fully, and now it was gone. The next morning, Alex tried to speak to me. Please, I can explain, he said, his voice trembling. Explain? I laughed bitterly, the sound hollow and sharp. Explain how you betrayed me? How you destroyed my trust? There's nothing to explain. You made your choice. You chose her and you left me behind. That's all I need to know. He swallowed, looking like he might beg. But I didn't wait. I walked away, shutting the door on him and on the life I thought I had. Sitting alone, I realized something terrifying and liberating at the same time. I had been broken again, yes, but I was still standing. I was still breathing. And though it hurt like hell, I knew that somehow I would survive. Somehow I would learn from this pain. And someday, I would be stronger than the people who betrayed me. Chapter 6. Picking up the pieces. The apartment felt empty without Alex. His presence, or the memory of it, lingered in every corner, like a shadow I couldn't shake. I sat on the couch, staring at the wall, feeling the raw ache of betrayal. It was hard to breathe. It was hard to think. My phone buzzed. Lena. Hey, she said the second I answered. How are you holding up? I wanted to lie. I wanted to say I'm fine, everything's fine. But the truth spilled out before I could stop it. I don't know. I feel broken and stupid. I trusted him. I let him in. And he destroyed everything. There was a pause. I know, she said gently. But you're not stupid. You're human. And humans make mistakes. What matters is what you do next. I wiped my tears, trying to focus. What do I do next? Start with yourself, she said firmly. Focus on you. Your life. Your happiness. Not him. Not Daniel. You. Her words hit me like a lifeline. I had been so consumed with them, Daniel's ghost, Alex's betrayal, that I had forgotten to take care of myself. I had forgotten that I still had a life outside of their shadows. The next few days were hard. I stayed home, cried when I needed to, and let myself feel the pain fully. But slowly, I started taking small steps. Cooking for myself, going for walks, reconnecting with old friends. One evening, my mother came over. She sat beside me on the couch, her hand warm on mine. Sweetheart, she said softly, you're stronger than you think. You survived Daniel. You survived Alex. And you will survive this too. But you have to believe it. I want to, I whispered. But it hurts so much. I trusted him. I know, she said, squeezing my hand. And it's okay to feel hurt. But don't let it define you. You are not what they did to you. You are who you are. And who you are is incredible. Her words stayed with me. That night, I stared at the ceiling and made a promise to myself. I would rebuild. I would take back control of my life. And I would never let anyone make me feel invisible again. The following week, I ran into Daniel again. This time at the park. My heart tightened, but I was different now. Stronger, clearer. "Hey," he said, casual as ever. "Long time no see." "Hi, Daniel," I said calmly. "It has been a long time." He smiled. "I've been thinking about us." I shook my head, firm this time. "Daniel, there is no us. You never wanted me, not really. And I can't waste any more time on someone who doesn't see me. I've moved on." His smile faltered slightly, but I didn't look back. I walked away, feeling lighter with every step. For the first time in years, I realized I wasn't just surviving. I was living. I was reclaiming my heart, my mind, my life. And slowly, cautiously, I began to believe that happiness was possible again. Without ghosts, without lies, without betrayal. That night, I called Lena. I think I'm finally okay," I said, smiling through my tears. "You're more than okay," she said, laughing softly. "You're amazing. And don't forget it." I hung up and sat in the quiet of my apartment, breathing deeply. The pain hadn't disappeared. It never would completely. But I had learned something far more important. I could survive. I could heal. And one day I would love again on my own terms. And this time no one would betray me. Chapter 7, Karma in Motion. It had been a few weeks since I shut the door on Alex. I still felt the sting, but the sharp edges had dulled. Life was quieter now. I focused on work, on my friends, on myself. And for the first time, I began to notice something strange. Alex's carefully constructed life was starting to unravel, almost like the universe was correcting itself. I heard it first from a mutual friend, Mark, who called me hesitantly. "Hey, I don't know if you want to hear this," he said, "but people are starting to find out about Alex. About everything." I froze. "What do you mean?" Mark sighed. "His colleagues, his so-called friends, they're realizing he's been dishonest. His reputation is taking a hit. And I didn't know if I should tell you." I didn't respond immediately. Part of me wanted to feel satisfaction, and part of me felt guilty for it. But the truth was, I had been hurt so badly, I couldn't stop myself from noticing. "Thank you for telling me," I said finally. "I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted you to know. You deserve to see that things aren't perfect for him either." I hung up and sat quietly, letting it sink in. For so long, I had felt powerless. I had loved blindly, trusted blindly, been hurt blindly. And now, there was a strange sense of balance forming. Later that week, I ran into Alex at a cafe. He looked different, haggard, distracted, unsure of himself. The confident, charming man I had fallen for was gone, replaced by someone struggling to hold the pieces of his life together. "Hey," he said cautiously, voice low. "Can we talk?" I shook my head, keeping my distance. "There's nothing to talk about, Alex. I'm done." He hesitated, and I saw it then, the shame, the guilt. For the first time, he seemed human, and it was satisfying in a quiet, bitter way. I messed up," he said finally. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "You didn't mean for me to see?" I asked, my voice calm but firm. "You didn't mean for me to realize the truth? You didn't mean for anyone to find out?" He looked down, unable to meet my eyes. I made mistakes." "Yeah," I said, letting a small, controlled smile spread across my face. "You made mistakes, and now you're facing them. Karma works fast sometimes." He flinched, as if my words hit him physically. I realized then that I didn't need revenge. Life had delivered it perfectly on its own. He was losing the respect he had once commanded, the admiration he had taken for granted, and the life he had built with lies. I left the cafe that day feeling lighter than I had in months. It wasn't joy, this wasn't happiness. It was something deeper, more satisfying, justice. Not mine to give, but the universe's. Over the following weeks, I watched quietly from a distance. Alex's lies caught up with him at work. People he trusted turned away. Friends he had counted on drifted off. He was still breathing, still alive, but everything he had tried to control was slipping through his fingers. And me? I was thriving. I laughed more freely, slept more soundly, and didn't feel the weight of constant worry pressing on my chest. Every step I took, every small victory in my own life, reminded me that I had survived, and that I was stronger for it. One evening, Lena called, laughing. "You know, you look radiant, like you're untouchable." I chuckled softly. "I feel untouchable," I admitted. "Not because I'm better than anyone else, but because I've learned that I can survive anything." "Exactly," she said. "And you're finally free." I smiled, feeling the truth of it settle in. Free from Alex, free from Daniel, free from the ghosts of the past. And though the memory of betrayal would never completely disappear, I knew now that I didn't need it to define me. Somewhere, Alex was paying the price for his actions. And somewhere I was rising stronger, wiser, and finally in control of my own life. Chapter 8. A New Beginning. The first morning I woke up without Alex's shadow looming over me, I felt light, almost fragile but free. I made coffee, opened the curtains, and let the sunlight spill into my apartment. The world felt sharper, more alive, like I was seeing it for the first time. I spent the morning calling friends I hadn't spoken to in months, reconnecting with people I had neglected while I obsessed over Daniel and Alex. Lena was the first to answer. "Hey," she said, excited. "How's my favorite survivor doing?" I laughed softly. "Alive, and slowly learning how to enjoy it." "That's what I like to hear. So what's the plan? You're not just going to sit around feeling good, are you?" "I don't know yet," I admitted. "I want to focus on me. My career, my hobbies, maybe even travel. Just live without worrying about anyone else." "Good," she said firmly. "You deserve it." For weeks, I dove into my life. I worked harder than ever, poured my energy into my passions, and even signed up for a pottery class. Something I had always wanted to try but never dared. I laughed more freely, slept more soundly, and felt my heart slowly knit itself back together. One evening, I ran into someone new at the art studio. A kind, thoughtful man named Nathan. He wasn't Alex. He wasn't Daniel. He wasn't anyone from my past. He was different, patient, funny, and genuinely interested in getting to know me. "Hey," he said, offering a smile as I struggled to shape a piece of clay. "Looks like you could use some help." I laughed nervously. "You think?" He chuckled, stepping closer. "A little guidance never hurts. Besides, I like seeing people create." I felt a warmth in my chest. Not the dizzying, all-consuming rush I had felt with Alex, but a steady, comforting spark that told me maybe love could feel healthy. Over the next few weeks, Nathan and I spent time together in the studio. I talked, he listened. I laughed, he laughed too. It was simple, easy, safe, and I realized I liked that. I liked being around someone without fear of betrayal. One evening, as we walked home, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. "I'm glad we met," I said softly. "Me too," Nathan replied. "You seem different, happier." "I am," I admitted. "I've learned a lot this past year. About trust, about heartbreak, and about myself." He squeezed my hand gently. "And you'll keep learning, together if you want." I looked at him, at the genuine kindness in his eyes, and felt a smile spread across my face. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel haunted. I didn't feel anxious. I felt ready. That night, I called Lena again. "I think I'm finally ready to let myself be happy again," I said, my voice calm but full of emotion. "I never doubted it for a second," she said, laughing. "You've earned this. Just promise me one thing." "What?" I asked. "Promise me you'll never let anyone make you feel invisible again. Ever." "I promise," I said firmly. And for the first time, I meant it. As I hung up, I looked around my apartment. The sunlight spilled over my books, my plants, my little pieces of life I had reclaimed. I was free, I was strong, and I was ready to build a life that was truly mine, without shadows, without lies, and without anyone who didn't deserve my heart. And maybe, just maybe, love would come again in the way it was supposed to, honest, patient, and real. Chapter 9, Rising from the Ashes. I never thought I'd feel this whole again. Sitting on my balcony, the city lights twinkling below, I realized how far I'd come. 8 years chasing someone who didn't want me. Months with Alex, hoping for love but finding betrayal. And now here I was, free, strong, alive. Nathan had become a quiet presence in my life. Not a replacement, not a patch over old wounds, but a gentle reminder that trust could exist without fear. We laughed, we talked, we shared moments that were small but infinitely precious. I heard a knock on the door. Lena's voice called through, "Hey, thought I'd drop by and see the new, fabulous version of you." I laughed, letting her in. "Well, you're just in time to see me finally at peace." She raised an eyebrow. "Finally? It's been a long road, hasn't it?" I nodded. "The longest, but every tear, every heartbreak, it taught me something. About myself, about life, about what I deserve." "Sounds like someone's finally learning the art of self-love," she teased. I smiled, feeling warmth spread through me. "I am, and I finally understand that love isn't about chasing shadows or tolerating betrayal. It's about respect, honesty, choosing someone who chooses you too." She nodded, her expression softening. "And do you feel like you've found that?" I glanced toward Nathan, who was laughing at something on his phone in the living room. "I think I'm ready to," I said quietly. "In my own time, on my own terms." For the first time, I realized that happiness didn't have to come in bursts of obsession or desperation. It could be quiet, steady, and real, and I was finally capable of embracing it. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I opened it hesitantly, expecting perhaps another shadow from the past. "I see what I lost. I hope you're happy." It was from Alex. I stared at the message for a long moment, then smiled softly. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because it no longer mattered. I had survived. I had grown. And I had learned that no one could break me again. Not Alex, not Daniel, not anyone. I texted back, "I am happy, and I'm only going to get happier." I put the phone down and looked out at the city once more. The lights shimmered. The night stretched endless and full of possibility. I felt alive in a way I hadn't for years, no longer haunted by the ghosts of people who didn't see my worth. I thought back to the girl who had spent 8 years chasing someone else. I thought of the woman who had loved Alex with everything she had, only to be betrayed. And I realized something. That girl, that woman, they were both me, and I had survived. I had transformed. The city was quiet now, but my heart was full. I knew there would be challenges ahead. Life never offered guarantees. But I had learned the most important lesson of all. I was enough. I was strong. I was worthy. And the love I deserved, the life I deserved, I could create for myself. I smiled to myself, feeling a sense of peace that had eluded me for years. The past no longer chained me. The mistakes, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, they were lessons, not burdens. And as I leaned back, letting the night air wash over me, I knew that whatever came next, love, joy, or even more challenges, I would face it with my head held high, my heart open, and my spirit unbroken, because I had risen from the ashes. And this time, nothing could stop me.